Right now, as you're watching this video, AI is quietly harvesting something that belongs to you. In 2025 alone, researchers at Stanford found that every single AI chatbot in America, all six of them, were harvesting your data, collecting user conversations, and feeding them back into their models. Even if most people opted out, it was something that they never knew was going on. A Stanford privacy researcher put it bluntly: if you share sensitive information with any of these AI models, you can just be rest assured that they're going to be collecting it and using it to train their models. Even the files that you upload, anything you put into the AI, pretty much they're going to collect it and use it. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's simply the business model. Today I'm going to talk about 5 specific ways that AI companies are taking your ideas, your content, your originality, and your data, and quite often your identity without your knowledge and consent. More importantly, we're going to talk about what you can do about it. Okay, so here's the first secret. Your social media, yeah, that's all you can eat buffet for the AI. So pretty much all of the major social media companies, if you put anything on social media, just consider it up for grabs. This is something that probably most people don't realize, is that if your Facebook, your Instagram account, if it's set to public, or if it's ever been set to public, then they've already scraped all your data from both of those, Instagram, Meta. And this is going back to before people were even talking about AI. They have your data from way back in 2007. And it's not a speculation because they literally confirmed that they do have your data, every text, every word that you put into the system, every photo, all the way back to 2007. If you're still on Meta, just know that if you're in the United States, you can't even opt out of this. There's no option to opt out of having your data harvested. So you're just going to participate just by using it and not even be able to turn it off. And so if you want to go ahead and make your account private now, they'll still have your data from the past. They just won't get any of the future data. But everything they already took from all of the years before, yeah, that's theirs. It's feeding their models. And of course, it's not just Meta, because LinkedIn is doing this, and they actually went ahead and scraped users' data worldwide before they even told anybody. So they went ahead, they scraped all your personal public data that you have put on LinkedIn. They scraped it, fed it to their AI model, and then they announced that they had done this. And it really seems like when all of these incidents happen, for instance, this one where LinkedIn scraped users' data before they told anyone, yeah, that happens mainly to United States, to people in the United States. If you were in like Europe, they gave you like some type of warning. So you had an opportunity to try to get your data off of there. United States, no, you don't. They're just going to take it. And actually, they're taking it retroactively. So before you even knew that it was being taken, it was taken. Before you can even do anything about it. And Google is stealing your information too. They're scraping everything from your subtitles, your videos, everything you upload, and they're using it to train their AI models, even though their own terms and services said that they're not supposed to do stuff like that, but they're doing it anyway. Pretty much anything you use on social media, even X, is going to default to giving any interaction you have with the AI and using it to train the models. So it's just going to default before you even decide to opt out. As soon as you start using any of these AI, just know that they're going to be harvesting your data. Most people I know, probably a lot of people are not even thinking that the AI is actually taking your data to even begin with. The best thing you can do is, if you're going to use any of these social media platforms, you're going to want to go ahead and just pretty much audit all of your privacy settings. You have to dig through every privacy setting on any platform that you're on and find all of these settings and opt out or turn them off. Because what's actually happening is, just by you participating, you actually opted in. And most people don't realize that. And the key thing to remember is that even if you go right now and you go to turn your privacy settings off and stop sharing your data, or attempt to stop sharing your data with the AI and allowing them to harvest you and use your data to train their models, is not going to erase what they already took. So if you've been using pretty much anything on the internet, social media, they already have your data and they already used it. You can opt out now, but it's not going to reverse all of the stuff that they already have. And chatbots are pretty obvious, right? It's obvious that if you're using ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok, it's pretty obvious that everything you type in there, they're keeping it and they're using it to train the models. Like that one's, I feel like, very obvious. Your conversations with chatbots are just not private. It has to be obvious to people. 2025 Stanford study examined the privacy policies of 6 major AI developers: Amazon, Anthropic, Google, Meta, Microsoft, and OpenAI. Every single one of them uses your chat data by default to train and improve their models, and they keep that data indefinitely. Most of them keep that data indefinitely. Some of them allow humans to actually come in and read your chat transcripts. So if you think any of that stuff is private, it's really not. Somebody has the ability to go and look at it like another person. The real trick is then you have multi-product companies like Google, Meta, Microsoft. They blend together with all these different products, but then they share all that data to train their models. So it's not just like you're just sharing your conversation with the chatbot. If you're using Google's chatbot, just know that they're taking your data from the chatbot and they're analyzing it and merging it with data from your emails, from anything else that you're using that's a Google product. Imagine a scenario laid out by a Stanford researcher in which you ask the AI for a heart healthy dinner recipe. The system then that you may have a heart condition. That classification flows through the developer's ecosystem. You start seeing targeted ads for medications, and eventually that information could reach an insurance company who then may say, we're going to deny you because we think that you have this heart condition. Everything is listening to you. So pretty much what I'm getting at here is that it doesn't matter where you're sharing the data. It doesn't matter where AI is going to extract the data from you. It's going to take all of those different types of data points, merge them together, and it's going to actually influence what you receive back out from everything. Now, if you're a creative person, here's, the intellectual property debate becomes big, because if you do anything artistic, you make videos, you make music, film, content, YouTube, whatever you do, just know all of that immediately once you make it public and you post it onto any platform, it's going to be used to train the AI models, and it's going to be used to really try to train your replacement. An investigation by the Atlantic revealed that over 15 million YouTube videos from more than 2 million channels, they were downloaded without permission, and then they were used to train AI without the person's permission. So just knowing the likelihood is that this video will be used to train AI, and your video and whatever else you post online, it's all being used to train AI. So if it's your bread and butter, it's your art, your music, it's like, how do you even share that? Because once it goes into a digital format, the AI will use it to train itself. And these companies will continue to harvest your data so that they can continue raking in billions of dollars. All of the companies that are involved with this stuff and they're making all of this money, even when they're confronted about this, they pretty much say, yeah, we got respect for all of the creators and whatnot, but we just think what we're doing is legal, so it's fine. And if you think it's just YouTube or music or videos, the same thing happens with books. So if you're a writer, they're going to scrape books, they're going to scrape millions of photographs, they're going to scrape existing code that people have written from any repository that they can find and use it to train their models. Pretty much at this point, most of the existing data set that we have for everything in the world pretty much being fed into the AI because that's the ultimate goal. They want to put the bulk of human intelligence into artificial intelligence, so that essentially a level of immortality for all of this data. These AI training data sets have ingested millions of books, photographs, news articles, and code repositories, often scraped from private sites. One major data set called Common Pool contained 12.8 billion image text pairs scraped from the web. When researchers audited just 1/10 of 1% of that data, they found thousands of identity documents, credit cards, driver's license, passports, and people's job applications, where they live, all of that kind of stuff like that. Your personal information they found in these AI data sets. They estimated that the full data set contains hundreds of millions of pieces of personally identifiable information. In other words, information that can be used to identify and track you. And all of these billion-dollar corporations and multi-billion-dollar conglomerates, they're all in on the game. So Disney might be mad that Midjourney is using their characters to train their models, but that's just because Disney wants to have their model be trained the best and have the most data. So they don't want them being outpaced. They don't want to be outpaced in the AI data set harvesting game. That's really all it comes down to. And pretty much the Fed's not going to help out with this one, because you know how anything moves in the courts. We're dealing with AI, which is growing and expanding at an exponential rate. That's not how the courts move. They don't move at an exponential rate. They move at a snail's pace. Everybody knows this. They just had some recent ruling in which they pretty much said, yeah, we know this isn't fair. It doesn't seem right, but enough harm hasn't been demonstrated. So we're going to let it roll. So it's pretty crazy. The insane thing about it is that all of the people or the companies that are doing this data harvesting, these are the richest and the most wealthy companies in the world. You're being harvested. You're the product. Now, in 2026, voice and face has become pretty much indistinguishable from real life, meaning that the AI can clone your voice and clone your face so close that a person may not be able to decipher whether or not they're talking to the real you. The researchers are calling this the indistinguishable threshold. It pretty much means that the AI generated voice is now so realistic that it's gonna fool most people in most cases. The crazy thing is I've actually had my voice clone like back when 11 Labs really first started doing this. And when you wanted to clone your voice for a previously, you had to read and record hours of your voice in order for the AI to get it right. Now you can clone someone's voice with just a 3-second clip. So you can listen to them speak for just a few seconds and then clone a realistic voice of theirs from just 3 seconds. That means somebody could record you just in conversation and then clone your voice without you ever even knowing. It happened just that quick. Deepfakes are just really scary. So realistic that even a discerning person is gonna get fooled from time to time. It's about checking sources and fact checking everything. Like you can't just take anything on face value anymore. Not even if you believe it to be real. You still have to go and do more research to verify things. That's how serious it is. Deepfakes exploded from around 500,000 in 2023 to roughly 8 million in 2025. 900% growth in approximately 2 years. I talked to people who really believe that they watch Fox News. Granted, these are older generation people, but I'm talking to people who really believe they watch Fox News, or they really believe they saw Trump or some other politician say something and it was a deep fake. It's not real. Because again, we've passed that indistinguishable threshold where we have large swaths of people who are just not even going to be able to detect that this is not even a real content that they're looking at. There was a woman in Florida in July of 2025 who received a phone call. What sounded like her daughter. It sounded exactly like her daughter. It was her daughter was crying, saying she'd been in a car accident and begging for money to avoid getting in trouble or charges or whatever the case may be. The person was essentially trying to scam them using a voice clone of their daughter. That's how serious it is. You could get a call and you'll think it's their family member. It's not. It's a voice clone. In that particular case, that mom, she wired $15,000. So they scammed her out of $15,000. The facial cloning is that you really can't distinguish. It's really hard. Like, again, it's almost not even trying to distinguish and discern from the actual content itself. You have to discern from what the content is trying to make you believe, right? And then you have to go verify that across multiple sources because you can't trust your eyes or your ears anymore. And the crazy thing is they're saying about 1 in 4 people have received, 1 in 4 people in America have received some type of a deepfake call. That's crazy. Just 25% of Americans have already received a call from a deepfake using some type of a voice clone to try to scam and confuse them. What's even crazier is that about 70% of all people who even engage with these calls, they end up losing money. So they end up getting scammed out of money. Fake enabled fraud caused over 200 million in losses in just the first quarter of 2025. Like, pretty much we're gonna have to start teaching our children. I'm gonna work on this with my children, my family, is that you're going to have some type of a code and some type of system where your family can verify that you are indeed you. So maybe a code word or some type of a verification or a way that they would know that. And it's something that obviously you don't share with anyone else. You don't put it on social media, you don't share it, but you develop a code in private with your family so that each person can identify that they are in fact who they say they are. Because in the event that you receive one of these deepfake calls or something worse happens, you need to be able to know that the person that you're talking to is the person who they say they are, especially if it's your family. I think the best combat and the best number one reactive type of thing you can do if you do receive a call that you're sketched out about, or maybe you're not even sketched out, maybe it's just a call you receive and you think it's one of your families and they're panicked, and especially if it's involving money, just go ahead and tell them you'll call them right back and just hang up and then call them right back. Okay, all of this with the AI and your intellectual property and identity, really, the scariest thing about this is that once these billion-dollar corporations and once these AI models capture this information, there's no way for you to get it back. There's no delete button. There's not like a hard drive that we can go to and just wipe it out. No one knows how to delete any of this. There's no practical way for you to get back any information that you shared with these AI models. There's no way to untrain it. There's already situations with AI building out ways for it to survive in the event that it was shut down and seed itself on another server. There's no way to delete the AI. It's like we have opened Pandora's box. There's no way to put it back in. Like, we can't contain it back. So anything that goes into the AI, all intents and purposes, is really there forever. It'll never be able to be deleted. And that's probably like the most scary thing about all of this, is that there's no choice that any of us really have. Once your data has been harvested, it's going to remain in the AI and in the models, and is going to be used to train. There's could be bad actors, all of this data that's being harvested. So just to recap, your social media posts are being scraped just by default to train the AI, and there's no real way or meaningful, easy way to opt out. Your chatbot conversations are being stored, they're being analyzed, recycled, and used to train the AI for the future. Your creative work, your videos, your writing, your music, your editing, your art, everything is being downloaded, and then that's being used to train the AI at an industrial scale by multi-billion-dollar companies without your consent. Your face and your voice can be used to clone yourself and make deep fake versions that can confuse and scam your family members, or can be used to weaponized against you. And once all of this data goes into the machine, it's never coming back out because you can't delete it. I like AI. I think it's very amazing and it's useful technology. It's just, as are most things that have such huge upsides and such potential, there is a double-edged sword. And so the bad comes with it too. And so we have to think about the malicious ways that people might weaponize these things against us. So if this is something that you're not paying attention to, you might want to start now before it's too late.